I think it's just going to get weirder and weirder and weirder, and finally it's going to be so weird that people are going to have to talk about how weird it is. Eventually people are going to say, what the hell is going on? It's not enough to say it's nuts, you have to explain why it's so nuts. The invention of artificial life, the cloning of human beings, possible contact with extraterrestrials, the systems which are in place to keep the world sane are utterly inadequate to the forces that have been unleashed.
Welcome back to Forbidden Knowledge News. I'm your host, Chris Matthew. Today my guest is Darren Nesbit. We are still on the road. We were visiting my folks in Louisiana. We're on our way back, still putting out episodes as we go, but the audio quality isn't optimal. We have no video, but we'll be fully back in business within a few days. Be sure and check out my films. They're called Louisiana's on Tubi, Roku, Apple, and a few more. Doors of Perception is on Amazon Prime and Relay. We are booking guests for April. If you have suggestions or you'd like to be a guest, email me, forbiddenknowledgenews@gmail.com. Today, I want to welcome Darren Nesbit. He is a musical artist and activist. He has become a well-known figure at anti-lockdown protests in the United Kingdom. And in September 2020, he self-published the newspaper The Light, which features various conspiracies. Darren, welcome. How you doing?
I'm great, man. How are you?
I am excellent. It's great to have you on. I love the work you've been doing, bringing attention to what were once considered conspiracy theories. You're coming on the show at an extremely wild time, only a couple of months into 2026, and we have, of course, the Epstein file circus, a not-so-holy war to literally trigger an apocalypse, and a little bit of UFO and fake aliens keep trying to make their way into our mainstream narrative. So no shortage of events to discuss for sure, but this is your first time on. Before we get into this, tell us a little bit about yourself and let the audience know how they can find out more.
Sure. So, Chris, thanks for having me on. It's great to be here. I am from Manchester in England. I was a musician. I woke up in 2013 with lots of, lightning bolts and downloads all at once. It was just crazy. It was like 1984 is real, and oh my god, they're going to control everybody watching, and all the rest of it. Same emotions as everybody else goes through. You get scared, and then I'm laughing my head off because I look back and I've always been a rebel. I've always not thought the world doesn't seem right. Funny enough, and quite topical. Why is the war? Asking that kind of question as a child will never get a satisfactory answer because there aren't any satisfactory answers. And then I wrote a famous song, Stick Your New World Order Up Your Arse. We Are the 99%, back in 2013. That really took off in 2020 when the COVID psyop kicked off. And then from them, we helped swell the marches in London by organising coaches from Manchester. And then by September 2020, the idea had come about to launch a newspaper, which nobody thought could be done because, activists generally aren't that organised. And I was kind of determined that was one of the reasons why I made sure I got at least one issue out, because I wanted to show that activists could be organised and they could produce something, pretty good. That's not just a flyer or a handwritten, flyer or a banner or what have you. I also saw that the protests, while they were great and the spirit of the protests were brilliant, because all you had to do was be there, and that was a protest because you were supposed to be locked down. But they weren't going to do anything, and it's not something you could sustain, week in, week out, going to London, costing, spending £50, £100 and what have you. So I wanted to make sure we capitalised on it, basically. And the paper helped get, cohesive. I'm trying to think of the verb from cohesive, but it helped coalesce. It helped coalesce, local groups together, along with another organisation called the Stand in the Park, where basically, on a Sunday, people in the local area would just go and stand in the park together again. You weren't supposed to do that in more than groups of 6. And at some places there was 30, 40, or 100, with police hovering as people just stood around talking to each other. But those crazy times. So yeah, I've been awake, like I say, since 2013. I immediately thought, that this, I need to tell everybody, and of course, it just became the crazy conspiracy theorist in my circle. And then found new circles. It's not a problem. I'm living my best life. I'm 50. How old am I? I'm 171. It's 55 this year, is it? Yeah, I'm 55 this year. I'm living my best life.
Right.
Wonderful family, and lovely boys. And for my role, for my job in life now, I worked every job, done the same as everybody else. But now I get to edit the light paper, which is an absolute labour of love and joy, because obviously, because of online algorithms, it's great being online, but they are so good at siloing and echo chambering. So I look at online as a great way to get messages out to each other, but you're not reaching anybody. You have to go out on the streets in your town, or what have you, handing out information, no matter if it's a flyer, or the light paper, or what have you. It does exist. There's a paper called Druthers in Canada, does the same thing, and there's papers in Holland and Germany and Australia. There's the Light Australia, there's the Irish Light. So it's slightly bit different, but what's disappointing, there's nothing in the States at the moment. There's no particular states, no New York, Texas, California, wherever where there's basically a similar paper. It's never taken off in the States for some reason.
Yeah. Well, I know all about that awakening journey whenever you first start to become aware of this information and try to bring it to the attention of your friends and family, and you become the crazy one. But time has brought out so much information now, and it almost seems like a parody of itself reality right now because of the insanity that's unfolding. I know there's been a lot happening in the UK that hasn't really hit the United States yet. A lot of tyranny and arrests for people speaking their minds online. What's it like right there right now? Is that still going on?
To be honest with you, I saw that as again, getting people to self-police, to self-censor.
Yeah.
So, there was a couple of, the 2-3 famous videos of strange cops saying, "I've come to," you did a tweet about this, that, and the other, and just, people, it's like, what, you arrested me for social media. Some people have been arrested. But we think like the Lucy Connolly, she's an MP or wife of an MP, I can't remember, but that looks like a psyop. And again, they're playing games all the time. While things are real, it's there's so much more going on, even beyond the levels that we would first perceive. Even if you've just woken up, even just woken up. I want to see beyond some of these levels. Once you've been around for a little while, you've seen the patterns over and over again, you start being able to look through them. So while most of the world is quite rightly horrified at American aggression against Iran, and we're always on the side of the underdog kind of thing, or the one that's attacked.
Yeah.
It's quite clear that the Iranian leadership are in on it. Well, I mean, obviously some of them. So, and my suspicion, I don't know, I'm not quite a fly on the wall, but I would suspect that the leaders that are being taken out are those that have been marked out as opposing what's coming, which obviously is the complete digital tyranny. So I don't think Iran's any different to Israel or Russia, China, any perceived rebellious state, resistance state. I just think they're playing the role, unfortunately.
Well, what are your thoughts behind the engineered conflict that is unfolding right now? I see a lot of dogma and biblical propaganda. We have our generals telling the soldiers that they are fighting for Jesus, but not only for Jesus, to bring about the apocalypse. And we have several soldiers in the United States reporting this, complaining about it because it's some of the most insane rhetoric I've ever heard. But what are your thoughts on that and what's really behind the war?
Yeah, I mean, like, it's scary to hear that for sure on any level, even if you're a Christian, even if you're from Belgium, it doesn't make any difference. It's like, whoa, nobody goes to ball. Peter, when the Romans came to, or the Jews, whatever, but when they came to arrest him, Simon Peter, cut off someone's ear, and Jesus said no, and healed him. Don't fight. So Jesus was always a pacifist. He knew he had to make sacrifice. And anyway, there are multiple reasons for the war, and there are multiple agendas. We know that the main reason is money, which is the number one motivation for everybody, every single person. That's every single person you see on the screen promoting war is making big bucks from defense contracts, defense investments, and all the rest of it. They're from the Epstein files, these people are absolute scum of the earth. They're brilliant at hiding it. But they are absolutely villainous, and God will not be mocked. Now, here's the big thing for me with this prophecy nonsense. I've been studying the Bible since 2015. I wasn't brought up religious. I wasn't brought up in a Christian background, family, church, anything like that. I heard you pick up things. But I certainly never studied the Bible, never believed it. I was an atheist, and then when I woke up, I was like everybody else. I was a New Ager, which is kind of the first trap, as it were.
Yeah.
And then I discovered about cosmology. This is not what they say it is, because moon landings are fake. Everybody knows that. If you go any further, then you find out all of outer space is fake. And then it basically turns out that cosmology is what it says on page 1 of the Bible. So my thing was, well, that's true, and that matches what my senses tell me. What else is true in this book? So I've been studying for a long time, and I've fallen through so many trapdoors, i.e. this is what I believe now. Oh, right, okay, better information, put more things together. That makes far more sense. It's a lock. With truth, it's got to be a lock. It can't be, yeah, that feels right, or it's nearly there, but there's always a niggle at the back of your mind. When it's a lock, and you know. And here's the simple thing with biblical prophecy, as far as I know so far, is that all of the Old Testament prophecy, every single thing, Isaiah, Daniel, you name it, all the major and minor prophets, that was all fulfilled in Jesus's ministry and the apostles thereafter. All of that was fulfilled basically in the New Testament, and then all of the New Testament prophecy was fulfilled in AD 70. Which happens to be an exact biblical generation. So the temple was reduced to rubble, not one stone on another, exactly a biblical generation after Jesus said it would be. This generation will not pass until all these things will take place. Obviously, some people will get there. Generation wasn't going to pass. He was crucified in 31 AD. And the Romans besieged Jerusalem from 66 AD till 70 AD. It was 3.5 years. That's your tribulation. So, as far as I'm concerned, it's all been and gone. Jesus rules in heaven right now. The saints are there. All the apostles, everybody that's been in Christ, that's been and died, is now in the new Zion, New Jerusalem, Zion. Zionism is a very, very different thing. To us now, as it does in the Bible. So it's of no surprise to me that evil men will pervert, because the people that actually run the world are smart as heck. They know the truth, because if they didn't know the truth, they won't be able to brilliantly invert it. But they are, like I say, it should be no surprise that evil men are using biblical prophecy or biblical scripture, which is a lot of people believe in, whether they're Christians or not. Not Jews believe it, or Muslims believe, in the Old and New Testament. And they're obviously, they're using it for their own ends. The famous interview and it was Alex Jones that did the interview with Aaron Russo, who was a friend of Nelson Rockefeller. He was connected. And there's a famous interview where Aaron Russell goes, Nelson Rockefeller was telling me all the plans, let me tell you, it's a conspiracy, and blah, 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 and they're going to put a chip in your hand, or, what have you, so they can control everything, and that becomes the mark of the beast, and it's prophecy, so it's going to happen. But if you're a believer, you also know that, well, it's only going to be for 3.5 years, because then Jesus will come back and save us from it all. But if that's not true, and the prophet's always been and all the rest of it, right, then what a brilliant way to get people to accept it even, you know, I don't want to take it, but I can't survive for 3.5 years. But, you know, and then obviously Jesus isn't coming back. He's not going to come back a third time. So, again, if you start from the truth, it's harder to be deceived. Now, all of these views will be controversial, even among people who are open-minded, because we can't help we can't help railing against our confirmation biases. Some people go, oh yeah, I agree with that, don't agree with that, and that's fine. Here's a big thing that we've lost with social media, is the ability to disagree on 1, 2, 3 things and still respect each other, still like each other, still go for a beer, play the football, blah, 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 blah. Right? We can still be friends and disagree. I mean, you know, growing up, we used to have ridiculous arguments about anything and everything, you know, with your friends, and you're not following out because, you know, that's it. But social media seems to have done that to us. It's like there's a purity test. And if you don't believe, you know, Israel is the worst nation on earth, or if you don't believe that, you know, that there's no viruses, and you know, which I don't, you know what I mean? I'm fully on board with everything, but I don't hate on somebody who doesn't agree with me on everything, or hasn't done all the research on everything. I'm a knowledge junkie, so I don't expect anyone who's done the same research, you know, that I've done.
It's very difficult to try and get across some of these concepts to people, especially those that are just starting to become aware of this. And I think the Epstein files are a part of a larger demoralization, desensitization campaign to flood us with all this horrible information about what's really happening in our reality. And what comes out of it, there's no justice, there's no arrest, there's just more horrible information and knowledge about our ruling class. And it seems to me they're just flooding us with this so that we believe that we are more powerless. What do you think about that?
Yeah, absolutely. It's you know, they're flooding the zone, and they are giving people learned helplessness. Now, I think that people that have been awake for a while, you know, there are some sections of the truth movement that are saying it's all fake, it's all a hoax. It's not. The files are real. They've acted. You know, they only got the thing about, you know, Trump definitely being a child, or certainly being absolutely accused, and the FBI taking it seriously, being a child rapist. I completely believe it.
Yeah.
You know, so they've tried to redact it, but obviously, you know, the things are real. It's not really getting across to the mainstream thing, and you're certainly not now, because obviously, you know, but bring on a war, and that'll lead the news cycle for the next, you know, 3 months or what have you. Hopefully it'll calm down. It's definitely a case of demoralization, learned helplessness, you know, all the psychological techniques. But you say, been around for a while. I've been waiting for, you know, some actual, you know, proof. So now anybody can have a conversation and go, you know, well, what are you paying your taxes for? Well, if they don't, well, they're going to kill us anyway. They're going to come put us in prison, kill us, exclude us. This is their plans, and they're openly saying it. And here's Epstein discussing it with the Rothschilds and with, you know, Blob, Peter Thiel, and all the rest of it. They're into genetic modification and just, you know, these people are evil, and it's our fault because we're supporting. And that needs to be the message, really, because I know there's a lot of people in America like prepping, I'm ready with my guns and stuff. Well, if we've got we've got drones. What's happened with the Ram? You know what I mean? That's not, yeah. You need to stop funding them now, and you know, obviously create systems rather than just stock up, but create systems of food. They, you know, grow the thing so it's still going to be going in 2, 3, 4 years time. If they come for us, you know, if they collapse the economy through this war, and then do the great reset with the all digital currency, and here's £1,000 a month for everybody, and here's new technology, and it's all wonderful, and all the rest of it, then we're going to want to live outside it. Now, if they come for us anyway, go, no, you can't live outside it. You know, either come in or we'll blow you up. Then blow us up. You know what I mean? It's live free or die, right? But if they don't do that, and it's a case of, well, those that didn't, you know, prepare to live outside the system, even though all the warnings were there, are going to have to, you know, live in the system, then or figure out a way out. And obviously, we can help to a certain extent, but you know, So I'm also very, very solution focused, because, you know, anybody can go on listen to podcasts, all over the world. There's some very, very smart analysis, lots of great perspectives. And again, we're almost helping flood the zone with even more information. But it's always valuable to get unique perspectives from other people that have had different experiences and different paths. So I'd say, like I say, focusing on the solutions is more important. It's what you won't get from a lot of the big names. They'll sell you pills, they'll sell you whatever. But people will just say, listen, if you can get a piece of land, but certainly grow, make a network, learn skills, learn where to get water, how to purify water, all the basics. I hope I'm just teaching everybody to suck eggs, really. But that should be the focus, and we all get sucked into the information stream with the war. I've left Facebook, get rid of it. I was still on Substack. So, just writing a little bit of Substack. And it turns out, you know what I mean? There's lots, there's a huge awake community, but there is everywhere. Everybody's siloed. If I start going, go America, bomb the shit out of them, and we just have to rule the world and all the rest of it, well, I'm going to come across, like-minded people very, very quickly. So, yeah. The real world is where it's at, because the real world is what they want to put a digital barrier between us and.
Earlier, you said that one of the main agendas is money, and that's usually the main motivating factor for this parasitic class. But I have to wonder if they don't already have all of the money and power in the world, if there's something spiritual desire that they have to implement. I know that what we're seeing is a full digitization, but it also seems that they're adding a layer of reality that they can completely control. And on top of that, implementing this artificial intelligence as their new god to not only use as law enforcement tool, but possibly a spiritual governance as well.
Okay, well, when I said motivated by money, I meant the Pete Hegseths of this world, and the senators and the middle management, the middle, middle to senior management. They use money to motivate those guys. The people right at the top, people that own the central banking system, own the Federal Reserve, and what have you. The Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the Morgans, the whoever, the black nobility, whoever you think it is. Those guys are motivated by power and control. They want to be God on earth. They're psychopaths. Psychopaths like to torture little children, and just for the hell of it, they actually get off on it. It's very, very hard. It's very, very hard to put our heads around, because none of us have any desire to have any control over anybody. If you're fully awake and full of the spirit, then you simply go around wanting the best for everybody, encouraging them and cheering on their successes, and commiserating with the losses and all the rest of it. But these people, they want complete control over everyone on earth. It was written in the Georgia Geist, that was 500 million. Maintain humanity in perfect balance with nature. 500 million people. Well, if there's, and we don't know, if there's 7.5 billion, 8 billion people on Earth right now, that means they need to get rid of 7.5 billion of us. That's a big genocide. Just go pick up on the AI thing. I think AI is another bait and switch. It doesn't seem to be able to do what it can do. It's smart programming. It's smart software. But it's not going to take over the world. What I think they're doing is doing all the hype, NVIDIA and Oracle, and the big circle jerk with the investment. But it's all coming from the stock market. It's all coming from people's pensions and the ETFs and all the money that's building the data centers, and the whole thing's going to collapse because obviously there's no revenue, and people chatting to people and doing crappy pictures and crappy music and stuff. But once the data centers are built, and thank you very much for your money for that, so then those data centers will be used to for all the surveillance for the smart cities, for the 24/7 6G, CCTV monitoring everywhere, all the rest of it. So I don't believe in, I don't believe AI is going to take over the Terminator, etc., etc. It's just, it's just the next level of apps and software and programs, and most of it's crap, as we know. It does do some things well, admittedly, but I'm really not. I'm not afraid of them. I'm not afraid of aliens. I'm not afraid of demons. Even though I'm obviously a big believer in the Bible, God, and Jesus, I don't believe in the devil. I don't believe in demons. I think the only devil is man. Our biggest enemy is ourselves, that's both individually and certainly as a species, as we can well see. It's actually evident now. I still don't. Those people that are still hero worshipping Trump, but he just is saying contradictory things within 5-minute interviews, and he looks like a madman. I mean, we all know Biden was on the Alzheimer's, but Trump's gone from talking sense in his first campaign, and in his second campaign, obviously, because that's where you got to bullshit people and tell them what they want to hear and tell them the actual truth, to the worst president ever. You know what I mean? I remember George W. Bush. Everybody hated him because he's a war criminal. And then Obama came along, and he was even worse. Like, a great hope with Obama. Hooray! Yeah, the black president. Yeah, we see. Well, look how tolerant we are. We don't. It seems like a good guy. Come on, yeah. But bombs the shit out of everybody. Doesn't go down. You know what I mean? Just again, every single president does exactly opposite. But Trump's the winner. Trump's the winner, and he's not finished yet. Because here's the thing. Again, this is why I started talking about solutions before. The dollar is going to collapse. Now, everybody's known that for years and years and years and years. And I bet, people have lost money betting on when. And I still won't bet on when. But the oil price isn't going anywhere. And that's the thing. And as Trump rightly says, well, we'll make a lot of money in the oil price. It's like, well, you will, and you and all your friends, but every single working American, and working class across the Western world, and is going to suffer, because $100 oil, $150 oil means prices are going to double, and they're going to double, and they're going to double. You know what I mean? They're going to go up 10-15% every couple of months. We're going to get screwed, and the price of energy feeds into everything. And the only thing that the Fed can do, as we well know, is if they ain't going to default on the debt, is they're going to print and print and print and print and print. The rich are going to get off that. Obviously, they're going to spend. The stock market's going to keep going up and up and up, and your dollar, as Oliver Anson has already said, the dollar ain't worth shit. We know it's gone down 97%, but this one's going to finish it off, because to bring in a great reset and a new system, bring in an all digital system, they have to collapse the old one. But it's not them collapsing. It's there was a war, and it was the Iranians. They closed the whole Australian oil price went crazy, and we just had an economic crisis, financial crisis, war, it all collapsed. But don't know it. We're saving everybody. We have the solution. That's what I see the whole frame as. But tell you one more interesting thing. I don't know if you picked it up, or your listeners have, but all the places in Israel, and I presume in Iran, but I can't tell. But if places in Israel that are being hit, and this is including one of the oil depots, are all down for redevelopment. They're all down for some of them were empty buildings, but they're hitting some buildings, and basically they seem to be doing each other's redevelopment for them. So I don't trust anything that any of the media say, and I certainly pass on that advice. And I always think it's the leaderships, it's the rulers against the people in every country. So never ever get drawn into, the divide and rule, the black and white thinking, left and right, communist, fascist, or just the whole works of it. We're all individuals. We're all in it together. We're all completely unique, but none of us are special. And it would be an amazing world if we refused to allow such huge governments anymore. We don't have to protest, and we don't have to join politics. You have to stop paying them, stop using the corporations. Yeah, using your local food shops or farmers, grow your own. Get your money out of the system. Stop betting on war, and all the rest of it. Gold and silver. Start businesses. Sponsor local businesses. Just get out of this mass corporate thing that is only ever going to benefit the people at the top. If everybody's, in small groups, small villages, groups of families, in towns and what have you, and then working together. I mean, people do that quite a lot in various parts of the world anyway. But if we could get rid of the parasites at the top, and I say the easiest way to do that is to start. They've got plenty of money, but once you stop, half the people stop paying their council tax, the property tax, the income tax, the whatever you can. You can't stop paying sales taxes because it's you need to buy stuff. But that stops paying for the police and the judges and the nurses and the civil servants, and the government has to shut down. Your US government shut down like 3 times in the last 5 years, and nobody's noticed. Nobody cares.
Now, I want to go back to something you said, divert us for just a minute. You said that you don't believe in extraterrestrials or demons. Do you think that what we're experiencing as paranormal is what is considered egregores or thought forms, that it's all originated from the collective human consciousness, and the parasites at the top use that knowledge to project the images of aliens or demons to keep us in line? This is such an interesting possibility. I consider many different possibilities as it relates to metaphysical principles and paranormal extraterrestrials, but I'd love to get your thoughts on what we're experiencing when we have mystical or paranormal experiences.
Yeah, the rulers seem to be, have, maybe they wrote it, I don't know, but Sun Tzu's Art of War, they seem to be following every single tactic in that book against obviously the whole population, in actual wars, but also, in a psychological war. One of the biggest tips in that book is to appear strong when you're weak. Appear weak when you're strong, appear strong when you're weak. And that's what I think is absolutely vital, is to stay hidden. So the actual real rulers stay hidden, so the population believes that they've got a say in things, and if you believe you're free, you're not going to rebel. But also that whether it's the government, the police, but also let's talk about the actual rulership, because the rumors, I've heard Anunnaki, or interdimensional or extra dimensional. Well, that's exactly what I would tell the disinformation agents, the control officers. That's exactly what I tell them to put in their books. Various different things that we're descended from ancient aliens, or we're in league with the devil, or so you've got again, it's Alex Jones again. He goes to Bohemian Grove. Look, they're all worshipping the owl. It's the devil. They're all sick. I mean, these people are evil as heck. They traffic, rape, murder, eat children and babies, or they hunt them. These people are absolutely evil. If there was a devil, these people are it. But you don't need them. You don't need them for such to exist. You just need them. Their ancestors who have had a very, very cunning plan to capture, to capture the world's economy, via control of the currency system. 1694, the first Bank of England came after the Glorious Revolution, which was, Dutch Jewish bankers getting William of Orange onto the throne of England. 6 years later, they've got their first central bank, and it's all downhill from there. So I think they're playing. I think they're appearing stronger. What's going on when we have sixth sense type things? Well, we're electromagnetic beings. We're spiritual beings. There is definitely more to us than meets the eye. I think we're all made by God and made in the image of God. We have infinite imaginations, and I don't think there's anybody alive that hasn't thought of a friend that they haven't spoken to for quite some time, and then the phone's rung, and that person's been speaking. I've been in the shower in the morning, and a song comes into my head, get in my car, go to work, put on the radio, that song is playing. There's absolutely more to life than the material world. We're absolutely aware of that. I believe that if you're when we die, we go to God's judgment, And if you're there, you live with God forever, and if not, then you're annihilated. I don't believe in a hell, because a loving God would never create a place of eternal torment for somebody who's had a lifetime of evil. Even Rockefeller and Rothschild and all those people, they don't deserve to be tortured forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. Only man would invent such a thing. So yeah. So I believe it paranormal, as it were, but I don't believe that. I think all of the evil is definitely originated from humans, as it says in the Bible as well.
Well, earlier you mentioned our true cosmology, and this is another massive trap to hold us in ignorance about our true reality. What are your thoughts about our true cosmology? What's beyond the firmament or our atmosphere? The mechanics of what is known as space?
Well, I do have several videos on it. It's a very, very divisive topic, which is interesting, because again, if somebody wants to discuss it, I'm happy to discuss it, but I don't go around talking. I don't go around giving presentations on it. I've given a couple, and there's a great one from 2017 where I gave the flat Earth lecture, as it were, to a UFO conference in Manchester. I was invited. I was like, "Are you sure you got the right guy?" Yeah. So it's a room full of sci-fi enthusiasts. And if you watch the video, if you watch the presentation, by about halfway through, the room's completely silent. I don't notice myself. I'm just doing my presentation. But the room is absolutely, because the first thing I said to them was, I mean, everybody here knows that NASA are late. Yeah, everybody knows that. And they're like, yeah, absolutely. Well, so I start with the moon landings, and I always start with the moon landings because it's very easy to prove that they're fake. Once you know about 9/11 and, false flags and all the rest of it. But interestingly, I asked David Icke in an interview what he thought about, the moon landings. He wouldn't talk about it. It was during COVID. He wouldn't talk about it, which is very disappointing, because it's a real 101, and it's a real conspiracy 101. JFK, 9/11, and the moon landings. So here's the big thing for if the moon landings are fake. In 1972, on the last supposed, fake mission, halfway back, they took a picture of Earth. That picture of Earth from 1972 has adorned, or did adorn, every school wall, every encyclopedia, every film, everywhere you went was that picture of Earth, and that went across the world. Now, that image was taken halfway back from a mission that nobody's ever been on. So obviously, it's a fake, it's a composite, it's a whatever it is. But the point is that somebody really wanted that picture to go across the world. So people say, well, why did they fake the way? Even if they go, why did they fake the moon? I think a big part of it was to say, for the first time, here's a picture of our Earth. Now, what difference they say? Is it flat, or is it or is it outer space? And what difference does it make? Well, there's a big difference, because if you believe in a creator God who created the Earth exactly as it states in the Bible, and he created you, and he created all the people, the internal philosophy and confidence of an individual should absolutely change from being a random, pointless, purposeless thing that's in this vast, galaxy universe. It's been around for billions of years, and you just happen to be here. You used to be a monkey, and what have you, and you're random. There's no purpose to you, and you're gonna live your life very different with that attitude, that the one that the rulers want you to have, than you're a child of God and you have a purpose here. Don't know what it is, and what have you, but you were meant to be here. Now, that should make a huge difference to people's confidence and people's level of confidence, a level of optimism. We were talking about demoralization before. It's very easy to get demoralized if you think it's just you versus the rulers, because they've got everything, they've got all the power. So, but again, it might sound try, but we've got God on our side, and if God's for us, who could be against us?
Do you subscribe to the possibility that there are extra continents, extra lands beyond something that may be an ice wall?
Oh, no, sorry, no, don't believe in an ice wall, don't believe in the disc model, and the disc model's silly. And again, the disk model is inserted into the realization that all of outer space stuff is fake. The ISS is fake. Moon landers are fake. All the pictures and go look at videos of Earth spinning in space. They're all rubbish. You know what I mean? No astronaut seems to have ever got the phone out and just taken a picture. You know, that you can actually get is a definite video of Earth. I don't believe in the disk model at all. It doesn't work with the observable cosmology, the observable astronomy that we've had for 5,000 years. There's no ice wall. They keep showing pictures of like the Ross ice shelf and going, look, there's an ice wall, and then people on top, people beyond it anyway. It's the yanking people says, for what I'm seeing, there's always a camp 1 and a camp 2, and then there's at camp 3 and a camp 4. But the camp 1 is obviously the mainstream. Then they always have a camp 2. They always have a mainstream conspiracy kind of thing and again, it gives people black and white fallacy. The flat earthers themselves, I'm a black sheep in the flat earth community. I'm quite proud of that. But in 2015, 2014, 2015, when it became obvious that this thing was just nonsense, and it takes a study of daylight hours across the earth will disprove it for you. But nevertheless, the earth is not moving and there is no outer space. Excuse me, all seconds. To your question, do I believe there's another continent or continents? Yeah, probably somewhere in the South Pacific, or South Atlantic, or even the middle of the Pacific. Absolutely, there's definitely more land that they've never drawn, but they know about. There's definitely deception there, but I don't believe it's beyond Antarctic, as it were. There's more land, but my cosmology is exactly as it says on page 1 of the Bible. Again, it's funny because a lot of Christian or a lot of Bible believers will argue that no, God could still make an infinite space with lots of different planets and all those. Well, yeah, he could, but he's wise, so he just makes it really big, and puts all the different kind of creatures up in one place. But it says so right on page 1. It says that the Earth was brought forth on day 3. And then on day 4, he made the sun, the moon, and the stars all on the same day, all to give light for the earth. And it's again, once you get rid of the model that's been implanted into us, you look up and you go, oh yeah, that's exactly what's happening. The sun's going across every day. It looks like it's arcing, but it's going straight across. The solar system is, it does have 7 planets going around it, which obviously, you can see at certain points, because it's a magnificent timepiece created by God. Again, Psalm 19. 19, 1-6. And the stars are behind it. The stars obviously tell us the seasons because they move 4 minutes. Is it 4 minutes faster? 4 minutes slower. I think it's 4 minutes faster than the sun. So obviously, the position changes slightly every night. Every 6 months, they're in the other half of the sky, as it were, which is why you see Orion in the winter and not the summer. Well, unless you're in the south. There's a way to take the observations that we've got, the evidence that we've got, and draw a different conclusion. And that is the method for almost any scientific belief that we're all taught as children. I'm getting into water. Might not be H2O, it might just be water. But what about electrolysis and all the rest of it? But again, I'm open to studying them. I'm open to the research to claim that it's nonsense because you were told something as a child is a really bad way to go about searching for the truth, I think.
Yeah, I agree. Well, let's get to what should be the most important part of this discussion, some more solutions. Particularly the solutions that you're working with. You have the light paper that you mentioned earlier. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing with that.
Sure. It's free to the reader. Monthly newspaper. So it's a magazine because it's a monthly, but it's obviously it's done in the form of a newspaper which everybody likes. Obviously very professional. It's at thelightpaper.co.uk. You can read every issue that we've done. We're on issue 60. We've run 67 issues so far. 5.5 years. So yeah, so you know, it's a monthly. It's obviously, you know, we it's like your social media feed distilled into a newspaper, and it can go out to the general public. So people stand on roundabouts and traffic lights and hand them out to people. They post in yours, they get left in businesses, takeaways, pubs, bars, what have you. You know, because you never know what seed you're going to sow. It's a lot more. It's a lot easier now. During the lockdown, when we started, people were chased down the streets, saying you were killing granny, by talking about the COVID lockdowns and the vaccines and all the rest of it. But yeah, people are a lot more awake now, as you were saying at the start of the show. So people are a lot more open to the truth, a lot more waking up. But I think there's still a lot of you know, there's a lot of misinformation, misdirection, false, you know, implanted red herrings and all sorts. And so people they've got to get good at discernment as well. I like to think we're a pretty good yardstick so far. Over after 5 years and God knows, but 2,000 articles and what have you, there's not been very many that we've been able to had to go back and go, actually, you know, we were wrong about that. Certainly, you don't get everything right, but in terms of how things have played out and what we're saying in 20, you know, our Wikipedia entries, obviously, anti-Semitic, right-wing, conspiracy theorist, all the rest of it, and everything that they accuse of. Oh, okay, well, they're right about that, and they said the lockdowns were, and the COVID vaccines were, okay, they're right about that. So, you know, oh, we quite like it when the mainstream, you know, slag us off. It's always good publicity. Famously, Mariana Spring from the BBC, we did an interview with her. It's actually on YouTube on the Edge of the Matrix channel, Rumble, I think. Sorry, not YouTube. He got the full 3 hours chatting to her. And you know, it was all perfectly pleasant and everything. And then they came out with an article which is, you know, she searched for the light, and on Google it's going to come up in the top results. Inside the hateful conspiracy theorist paper, The Light. So you know, it's a good beacon for those who've also been accused of being conspiracy theorists, right wing, etc. Says, oh right, well, that's my newspaper. And, you know, so that's also enabled us to do you know, various other things. Certainly, create a festival as well. We're on our 3rd year this year. What we did was teamed up with Fee from a Stand in the Park, and we created a festival, old school, hippie style, non-corporate DIY festival of the field with all truth music. This year we've got world superstar DJ Danny Rampling and Lange. We've also got Dub Effects as well, who's completely awake. He's a brilliant performer as well. And it's a lot of hard work, but it's a lot of fun to do. We do it at the end of May every year in the Lake District. So yeah, that's what we're up to. And look, like I say, it's just DIY, so we have a go at stuff. And you know, and if it works and people like it, you keep doing it. That's you know, it's almost like the Wild West now. You know, yeah, but they don't want us in their world, in their system, in their corporations, in their networks, in their supplies, on their social media, on their what have you. I mean, obviously, you know, you still interact with it, but at the end of the day, we have to build the new. So you're talking about solutions, exactly as you said. It's creating analog stuff for yourself and our tribe, as it were. That's useful. That helps.
Yeah, it's inevitable that we are going to see a split within our societies. There's going to be people like us who are awakened, who want to live a natural, free, sovereign lifestyle, and those that are happy eating the Matrix steak, living in smart cities, being policed by robot dogs and algorithms, and they're going to be happy in that lifestyle. But the split is going to occur, and I have to wonder if it's going to be like what you said. They want everyone in those smart cities. They don't want the other half to divert from their goal to control society. So what will they eventually wage war against the other side that is deciding to defect and try and eliminate them completely?
Yeah, I see. I think it's easy enough for them to, you know, class, you know, others. You know, obviously things will go wrong inside the smart city, and they'll blame the people that are living free. It's all our fault. In Russia, Stalin blamed the kulaks. Stalin blamed the farmers. He told everybody it's the farmers' fault because they're greedy and the rich and all the rest of it. So I've no doubts they will. If it does go that way, that they will try. Of course, they want complete control, but again, there are things beyond what what I can do, but we can certainly think and talk and warn people, etc. But it might be the case that in the end, lots more people, because like I say, there's going to be catastrophe, in the cities. I think everybody knows that. A lot of people aren't going to make it. So I don't know who's going to be left to be in their smart cities because, whether it's civil war, whether it's economic collapse, whether it's all three, pretend aliens. Bring on Project Blue. They'll do it all at once. Do that, you know what I mean? They're just going to make sure, right? Yeah, I mean, look, I'm going to do what I think is right, what's best for my family. If a drone swarm comes in 5 years' time and kills us all, then I can't fight against it. I don't want to fight against it. I don't want to live where it's basically it's like the Terminator, as it were. You know what I mean? There'll be a short, sharp shot. Supply chain collapse, riots, all the rest of it. Get yourself out of the way. Make sure you're stocked up. And you can defend for any stragglers. Get as far away from the cities as you can. And what will be will be. Like I say, I'm not either naive, but I'm also not going to be the underground, in the bunker prepper type thing, because I don't want to live in a world like that. I think it doesn't seem the way forward. I honestly think that if we shine our lights, in other words, if we're helpful when it goes down, if people are refugees and they flee the cities, and we open our back gardens, or we help with food stalls and what have you, then that's going to show that more people who exactly what we're about. We're not the ones starting the violence. We're not the ones starting the starting all the displacement and everything. But we'll do what we can to help you.
Well, I love what you're doing. You also have a free trade site, is that right?
Yeah. We're trying to just trying to get it open to across the world. It's only in Britain at the moment, but it's like it's a free listing site. But it's not obviously it's not through any platform. So you don't buy anything through the site, but you can advertise whatever you've got. So again, for good doubt, obviously you can do it now, but we grid down and say, look, we've got eggs available and what have you, and it can become it's a good way to trade. It's a good way for as long as we're not in Mad Max situations, like, oh well, they've got eggs, we'll go and kill them and what have you. You know what I mean? If it is a case of, look, there's no shops and stuff, but it's not violent. It's just how can we help feed each other? Then it's a perfect tool for doing that, because all you do is you go on, list what you got or list what you want, and then connect with people. Off the site. You don't do anything through the site. It doesn't make any money. There's no signing up. You obviously have an email and that's it. So very, very straightforward. It's at free-trade.org. If you are in the UK, it's open now. We're going to open up to the rest of the world, as soon as I can get hold of the very, very busy developer who actually made it.
Well, excellent, man. Like I said, I really love what you're doing. Last few minutes that we have, do you have any final thoughts, solutions, anything that you'd like to leave the audience with?
Well, I suppose it's more of a personal, individual thing, and it's just about self-belief. A lot of people black pill themselves, I suppose. A lot of people, you're stuck to the what's happening now, how could I, and then or you have a conversation with somebody all day, but it's in 6 months' time or a year's time, you're going to look back, or will you be able to look back to today and go, yeah, I made sure I did something useful every day. I made sure I advanced every day. I advanced myself, or I advanced the resources, or I advanced our connections and networks, or what have you, rather than just be glued to the internet all day and seeing what's going on. It's a lot more about like I say, developing ourselves. Because if I'm strong and I've got resources and what have you, I can help a few more people. If I've got a huge farm, I can help loads of people. You know what I mean? I probably need those people to help defend it as well in the sticky time. But the point is that to develop yourself, because waking up for me wasn't just about seeing the truth of the world and all the deceptions, although that's quite a part of it. The biggest part of it is that they've deceived you about who you are. So that was one of the reasons I was full of joy as well. It was like, hey, I was actually 40 years old, and they say life begins at 40. So it's a chance to start again. Tomorrow is always a chance. Today is always a chance to start again. But yeah, what we do daily, those form habits is a very stoic thing. But what you do daily after 6 months or a year, you're just going to be so much further down the road. But the world and they're the evil ones, the system wants to pull us away from that, pull us away from the real life, pull us away from the real world and nature and developing skills and developing friendships. They want us online, amused to death, distracted and without self-belief. And there isn't anybody on earth that isn't supposed to be here. Nobody was put here by accident. Not a single person. Everybody has a purpose. So trying and failing is worth a go, because you're here once anyway. So try and fail 5,000 times, because you'll learn a hell of a lot doing it. But life is for expansion. Life is for going from point A where you start to fully developing your potential. And every single human being has huge potential, not the same potential, because we're all completely unique. We've all got a part to play, and even if there's 20 billion of us, we'd still be unique, and we still have a part to play. The Earth is not overpopulated at all. That's a complete lie. Oil and energy would flow if we weren't all building solar panels and wind turbines that don't do nothing. So yeah, have confidence in yourself. Don't believe a word of what they told you. Go back. If you think back to school, sit down, shut up, don't argue. That's what you learn. You learn to obey. You learn not to think of yourself. You learn to accept what they said, even though half the time, I was the one arguing, as you could probably tell. I was the one going, hang on a minute, well, that doesn't make sense, because I went to a half-decent secondary school, so they were prepared to debate. But I know for a lot of people, it was like, shut up, you don't get it, get out, you're disruptive, and all the rest of it. That's what they're trained to do. So, yeah. And again, you can have that trauma and go, you bastards, and get angry about it, but or rather let it liberate you. Let it liberate you so that you go, I'm going to start living my life now. Let's have it.
I love it. Darren, thank you so much. This was fantastic. We'll definitely have to do this again. Before I let you go, remind the audience how they can access all your content.
Content. I don't really do content. We've got the light paper. Is at thelightpaper.co.uk. I do actually have a YouTube channel. It has a massive 7,500 subscribers, because I haven't posted it for a long time. But there's some flat earth stuff and some flat music, some music, some truth music stuff, including We Are the 99%, Sticky New World Up Your Arse. You can see that there. It's Daznez, DAZNEZ is the YouTube channel. Go to thelightpaper.co.uk. We've got a radio station as well, with lots of podcasts and music. That's at clearair.fm. Free trade is free-trade.org. And then come to Stand in the Light. If you want to come to the UK, you live in the UK, it's in the Lake District at the end of May. 4-day bank holiday music festival, and that's at standinthelight.uk as well. Thank you so much for having us, Chris.
Thank you so much for coming on. We'll definitely do it again. And until next time, everyone, have an excellent evening. We'll talk again tomorrow. Hello, friends. I am so excited to tell you about Independent Media Token. Independent Media Token is a brand new way to show your support for independent media without having to donate a dime. Independent Media Token is a cryptocurrency on the Solana blockchain designed to generate funds to promote and foster the growth of independent content creators, allowing them to engage in their art without having to worry about being demonetized. Through a network of media partners of which you yourself can become a part of, Independent Media Token's goal is to ensure the powers that be can never cut off all of our areas of funding and censor the only free voices left in the world. Join the movement today. You can pick up Independent Media Token using Phantom Wallet or the Solana wallet of your choice, where you can easily swap your Solana for IMT. Grab some IMT today and remember to always know your team. To learn more, visit independentmediatoken.com or use the link right in the description. If you're looking to start your therapeutic microdosing journey, but don't know where to start, especially when looking for the highest quality ingredients, including nootropics, and what you'd expect from a true microdose capsule, check out our friends at Brainsupreme. They offer the absolute highest quality ingredients so you can start your microdosing journey knowing that you're getting top-notch ingredients. To find out more, visit their website using that link right in the description, and you can get 15% off your entire order. Are you and your family prepared for an emergency? Maybe the fake alien invasion? Now is the time to prepare yourself and your family for any event. Check out Prep Starts Now. Their mission is to provide high-quality preparedness products that empower individuals and families to be ready for any situation. They're committed to delivering reliable, trusted gear to ensure your safety, security, and peace of mind in times of need. Their product selection is carefully curated to provide you with the essential gear you need to stay prepared. From emergency kits to tactical tools, every item is chosen for its reliability and practicality. Prep Starts Now understands the importance of family, and their goal is to equip you with everything you need to build a solid plan for your family's preparedness. In today's ever-changing world, being prepared is more important than ever, and Prep Starts Now is here to help you and your family stay ready with quality products and practical guidance. Use the link in the description and get 15% off your order. Watch Doors of Perception now on Amazon Prime. We live in an incredible age of information. More and more, we're discovering that we've been lied to and misled about much of our human history. Cory Hughes is providing profound revelations about World War I, World War II, the JFK assassination, Martin Luther King's assassination, and much, much more on his new Substack, Bloody History. Subscribe now for as little as $5 monthly. Just click that link right in the description to get started now and learn about our true history. I am so excited to tell you about Independent Media Token. Independent Media Token is a brand new way to show your support for independent media without having to donate a dime. Independent Media Token is a cryptocurrency on the Solana blockchain designed to generate funds to promote and foster the growth of independent content creators, allowing them to engage in their art without having to worry about being demonetized. Through a network of media partners of which you yourself can become a part of, Independent Media Token's goal is to ensure the powers that be can never cut off all of our areas of funding and censor the only free voices left in the world. Join the movement today. You can pick up Independent Media Token using Phantom Wallet or the Solana wallet of your choice, where you can easily swap your Solana for IMT. Grab some IMT today and remember to always know your team. To learn more, visit independentmediatoken.com or use the link right in the description.